Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I actually have a few updates regarding Arch and his trademark dispute with Games Workshop, and of course the efforts of the social justice community in their campaign to harass and deplatform him. So first of all, Arch has actually decided to start an email campaign of sorts directed specifically at Games Workshop's customer support contact, with the hope being that perhaps Games Workshop will listen to the voices of the Warhammer community at large should they decide to participate. And make no mistake, the community is indeed making its voice heard. So I do have to agree with Arch in his latest videos when he says that they are indeed making an impact. However, it is not all sunshine and roses right now, as the SJWs have actually come out in force to try to step up their efforts to deplatform Arch, with the most notable voice right now being a YouTuber by the name of LeakyCheese, who has a still comparatively small channel with only 10,000 subscribers, but he has nevertheless been quite persistent in his efforts to deplatform and harass Arch, even going so far as to plug Team YouTube into the Twitter discussion that he has been having over the matter, in an effort to specifically get Arch deplatformed. As a result, Arch actually decided to showcase some of LeakyCheese's latest tweets in his most recent video, as it is indeed a great example of the sort of tyrannical and abusive behavior that the SJWs are well known for. Of course, as you may well expect, this actually caught the eye of LeakyCheese, and so he decided to ask Arch some questions in return. However, being that these are questions that have already been answered by many other individuals such as myself, I am going to actually take the liberty of answering these questions here and now. For a start, LeakyCheese of course brings up the Noblar video as well as the comments made by Arch on Discord. And to put it simply, the comments that Arch made on both the Noblar video and in Discord are both, at the end of the day, jokes, and nothing more. In fact, to take it a step further, I would even have to point out the fact that in the Noblar video itself, Arch is making a joke at the expense of the fictional Noblar specifically. But I fear there still may be some confusion from LeakyCheese, so allow me to explain what I mean when I say joke. Joke, noun, a thing that someone says to cause amusement or laughter, especially a story with a funny punchline. In other words, the things that Arch said in both the Noblar video and on Discord are things that really should not be taken seriously. But the fact that LeakyCheese is trying to pretend that he's taking them seriously really does belie the true purpose here, as this is simply the best he's got in his efforts to try to silence Arch. But this also demonstrates the hypocrisy of LeakyCheese, and those from the Sigmarxism community that he supports. For if LeakyCheese actually cared about the jokes that Arch made in his Noblar video, he would also be going after SJWs for using slurs against minorities that they politically disagree with. And keep in mind, unlike Arch, the SJWs aren't making jokes here. They are legitimately trying to demean these people to their face when they do this. So it really does speak loads about LeakyCheese's moral character and the true motives behind his actions here, when instead of calling out this behavior from SJWs, he instead endorses it by backing the Sigmarxism community, who themselves can be best described as the platform for social justice warriors within Warhammer, and also the individuals that started this little witch hunt against Arch. But let's move on to the one thing that LeakyCheese has been talking about above all else in this matter, specifically the comments made by one of Arch's former moderators. And let's just get this out of the way. I don't agree at all with what the moderator had said. I am fundamentally opposed to the stance that he took. That said, however, it was a stance that the moderator took and not Arch. And it appears to have also been a position that no one else agreed with within that Discord community either. But if LeakyCheese wants to create a standard of guilt by association and try to blame Arch for this, then I'm going to have to explain why LeakyCheese is yet again a total hypocrite. And to explain what I mean, let's look at the Sigmarxism community that LeakyCheese is backing, or more specifically, one of the other communities that the Sigmarxism community itself is strongly associated with. Specifically, the so-called Alphabet Soup community, which is of course known for hosting parades. However, there's been some controversy in recent years regarding those parades. Specifically, the fact that some of these parades include dancers that are taking tips. And these particular dancers should, in all honesty, not be dancing in the first place for reasons that are blatantly obvious. Or at the very least, should be blatantly obvious. In fact, while footage of it exists, it's so abhorrent that I refuse to show it on here. So instead, you can see these still images and get a good idea of what exactly is going on. But here's the point I'm making. LeakyCheese is complaining about comments on Discord by a moderator who essentially was talking about how a certain type of film is made. And again, I do have to mention, I do not agree with this particular moderator's point of view at all. But there is a massive and unequivocal difference between that and having dancers taking tips during your parades. That shouldn't be dancers in the first place. And yet, LeakyCheese not only failed to call out this behavior for the abomination that it is, but he's even decided to side with the Sigmarxism community that openly supports this particular conduct. In other words, by his own standards, LeakyCheese is once again a total hypocrite, and clearly worse for the Warhammer YouTube community than Arch. In fact, if Arch is the Jesus of the Warhammer YouTube community, then I would have to say that LeakyCheese is the Judas of it, an individual that will actively endanger the entirety of the Warhammer YouTube community in order to achieve his own ideological aims. Having said all that, I do hope to actually move back onto the topic of the email campaign, as I do believe Arch has the right idea here. It is my opinion that with enough pressure, Games Workshop can be made to change its mind. And I do think the SJWs are acting this way because they realize this as well. So in the description of this video, I will of course be providing a link to the customer support email for Games Workshop, as well as the email template that Arch provided himself. If you happen to be a fan of Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40k, or even just tabletop wargaming itself, I strongly recommend you send an email, as I do believe it is entirely possible to achieve a swift victory against the SJWs here. Otherwise, should we not succeed, you should expect to fight a battle of attrition in the culture wars over your favorite hobby for the next several years. So like I said, please send that email and make sure we keep the pressure up for the next few weeks. In any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.